Coordinator of All India Disability Alliance, to introduce the consultation.
Honorable D.K. Pinchaji, Chief Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities and Chief Guest for this inaugural session of the very important national consultation on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Bill 2014. I, on behalf of All India Disability Alliance, welcome the Honorable Chief Commissioner and all of you to this very important consultation. For me, it's a coming together of all the forces and activists and DPOs who fought relentlessly against the move of the government of the day to push through the flawed bill on the rights of persons with disabilities and enact it in a hurry without taking into consideration serious concerns raised on our behalf by all of us. I would first like to congratulate all of you for this important success that we together could get in that struggle. And with this spirit, I would now like to request you all to give your inputs, to deliberate during this consultation in adopting an approach of building consensus and preparing an alternative legal formulation in respect of the issues that we have commonly identified to be addressed before enactment. Friends, now this struggle is in a very crucial phase because of two reasons. The first reason is that the greatest challenge is to build consensus, taking into account the concerns of each other while formulating our alternative formulations. And second, which is the most difficult challenge to encounter, is to engage once again with the new government which will come into power after the elections. As the election scenario is unfolding, probably with those with whom we had lobbied and tried to create some education on our issues or awareness on our issues may not be in the coming parliament, though we want them to be there. But this is beyond our control. However, our collective determination will encounter with success both these challenges. I'm confident that we together would encounter successfully both these challenges. Now, I had initiated under All India Disability Alliance with your cooperation a lobbying process during election around this bill. And I had circulated the letter which was addressed to the chairperson of the standing committee with an endorsement down below by the candidates of different political parties seeking election in the ongoing election process. And I would like to inform you that though we have not been able to make much or expected headway in that lobbying process, but the most satisfying factor is that we have been able to obtain the endorsement on our issues, support on the issues raised in the letter addressed to the chairperson standing committee from 15 constituencies, which probably is by no stretch of imagination is less, though it is not up to the expectation. And out of these 15, I would like to share with pleasure that we have been able to get the support from Rajnath Singh, President BJP, on this letter, which probably is the biggest achievement, because one may like it or not, there may be people in this gathering who may not like, there may be people who would like that BJP comes to power. But if BJP comes to power, if surveys are proved to be correct, I think we have the support of the President of the party, and therefore it would be difficult for them not to hear us. May I request other partners and those who are present here to join this lobbying in their areas. Won't be the receiver. Because so far what I could do only through my organization. And one of the participants here who is present, my Vice President, I would like to place on record my appreciation and appreciation of all the present here for Shri Ramakant Singh, who single-handedly got the signatures from 3 constituencies of India. Friends, now coming to the ground rule for this consultation. And these ground rules are to ensure that we present a consensus document, that we respect each other's concerns. All disabilities respect each other's disability concerns. Not to wash off the concern of any disability. So the ground rule would be A, that we will allow only a specific disability to present their viewpoints on an issue which is specifically affecting a particular disability. And the views of that specific disability will form part of either recommendation. To illustrate, if there is an issue with regard to the hearing impaired people, recognition of sign language, the provisions relating to access to justice, etc., and how they would be exercising their right to access to justice without recognition of sign language, etc. The recommendations of organizations or persons with hearing impairment will be the way forward for either. Not the intervention by the blind, not by the stand taken by locomotor disability. That is the first and foremost rule that we must respect. The second is that if a given provision does not, the deliberations on a given provision or issue does not result into a consensus, then that will not form part of either recommendations. And if there is a dissent of opinion between 2 IDA partners or 3 IDA partners, all the 3 IDA partners will be free to lobby for or acceptance of their respect. But as ILA, we will not, and we will also not take one side or the other. The third ground rule would be that since time is very short, while we are making interventions, if a specific disability issue is there, the other disability should avoid making interpretation unless that interpretation may result in a consensus bill. Next would be that how do we proceed now? You have seen in the program that we have devised the program in such a manner that issues are taken, the specific issues are taken in one session. And there are 1, 2 or 3 speakers for each session depending on the issue. The speaker would only outline the issue around that, and I would request from the speakers also not to repeat the issue which has been outlined by the previous speaker. And this will be followed by open house discussion. Based on the open house discussion, a legal expert team is sitting here which will attentively only listen, not intervene. And based on your consultation, it will give a legal shape to a given issue and provision independently as per the consensus. And for today, the entire day the legal team will continue to work like this. Frame the alternative formulations as per consensus simultaneously. And tomorrow we will start with the presentation of day 1 consensus alternative formulations. We will begin the day 2 with this presentation. Then the same course will follow. And then before valedictory, day 2 consensus document will be presented at that. And that will form part of our future lobbying around the world. Now friends, in these few ground rules that we have made for ourselves to make this consultation meaningful, let us work together in a positive manner with the spirit of accommodating each other's concerns and finding a way forward to make the RPD Bill 2014 in a strong, vibrant and an effective legislation which seeks to ensure full equality, full participation and an environment of non-discrimination on the ground of disability for any kind of disability. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Advocate Rauka. I would now like to invite our chief guest, Mr. Prasanna Pincha. Just to introduce a little bit, Mr. Pincha is well known to the sector. He has worked in various capacities, starting with the setting up of the first institution for blind people in Jorhat, Assam, from where he moved to the Social and Welfare Department of the Government of Assam. Mr. Pincha also worked with the Action Aid until he was appointed Special Rapporteur on Disabilities with the National Human Rights Commission, prior to being appointed as the Chief Commissioner of Persons with Disabilities. Mr. Pincha.
Thank you very much and a very warm good morning to you. मित्रों, आप मुझे अंग्रेजी में सुनना चाहोगे, हिंदी में सुनना चाहोगे? क्योंकि मुझे 10-15 मिनट बोलना है. Would you like to hear me out in English or in Hindi? Both languages. Okay, I'll try to be bilingual, though it consumes a little more time, but I will try to restrict myself within the allotted time. My esteemed friend and coordinator of the All India Disability Alliance, Mr. Rumta, my good friend Shri Rajya ji, spirited activists participating in this very important consultative process from across disabilities and from across the country. I feel profoundly privileged to be here with you this morning, and I owe a very special debt of gratitude to the organizers on two counts. A, for inviting me to formally declare this very important consultative process on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Bill, which is currently pending in the Rajya Sabha, and B, for giving me this wonderful opportunity of sharing some of my broad thoughts and feelings on this occasion. मैं संयोजकों के प्रति, आयोजकों के प्रति अपना आंतरिक आभार प्रकट करता हूं कि जिन्होंने मुझे इस महत्वपूर्ण परामर्श प्रक्रिया को विधिवत उद्घाटित करने तथा अपने उद्गार और अपने विचार व्यक्त करने का अवसर दिया है. One very significant outcome of developments which have unfolded in the last few months has been the emergence of a very vibrant and cross-disability group under the banner of All India Disability Alliance. And I, for one, sincerely feel that All India Disability Alliance, or AIDA, has the potential of offering a very vibrant platform to all persons with disabilities on an equal basis for evolving consensus, for interactive dialogue, and also for taking steps to appropriately take up the matter with the government. मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि अखिल भारतीय विकलांग मोर्चा जिसकी उत्पत्ति पिछले कई महीनों के घटनाक्रम के परिणाम स्वरूप हुई है, एक ऐसा मंच विकलांग व्यक्तियों को बराबरी और गरिमा के आधार पर सभी प्रकार की विकलांगताओं वाले विकलांग व्यक्तियों को देगा, जिससे विकलांग व्यक्ति एक आम राय तैयार कर सकेंगे, अपने मसलों पर बातचीत कर सकेंगे और सरकार के साथ इन मसलों को, इस मुद्दों को किस प्रकार से उठाना है उसकी रणनीति तैयार कर सकेंगे. बहुत खुशी का विषय है. इट्स अ हैप्पी ऑगरी. ये एक अच्छा लक्षण है कि पिछले 10-12 वर्षों में, दैट इन द लास्ट 10-12 years, जो विकलांग व्यक्तियों की युवा पीढ़ी है, द यंगर जनरेशंस ऑफ पर्सन्स विद डिसेबिलिटीज हैव थ्रोन अप, हैव प्रोड्यूस्ड सम एक्सीलेंट लीडर्स. बहुत अच्छे नेता पैदा किए. जैसे हमारे यहाँ शायद जीजा घोष आएंगे कि नहीं पता नहीं. जीजा, आर यू देयर? जीजा इज देयर. वी हैव कुहू दास. कुहू आइए. वी हैव राजीव आएंगे. राजीव तमिलनाडु. इस प्रकार के नेता हमारे यहाँ पिछले 10-12 वर्षों में दिए हैं. और मैं राजीव जी से और आदरणीय रुंटा साहब से कहना चाहूंगा कि मेरा व्यक्तिगत विचार यह है कि आने वाले दिनों में ये जो I personally feel that in the days ahead, these and many other leaders of should form part of IDA's leadership. मैं सोचता हूं कि वो उनका नेतृत्व उनको संभालना चाहिए आने वाले दिनों में, एंड ऑफ कोर्स with the active organizational support of organizations like Human Rights Law Network, like the National Federation of the Blind, like the AICB, NAB and such other organizations. ये बहुत आवश्यक है। अब सवाल ये है कि what should be your strategy with regard to the government? And my personal opinion with regard to this very important issue is that your strategy with regard to the government should be in accordance with the dictum, and I quote, cooperate where you can, resist where you must. मैं समझता हूं कि सरकार के संदर्भ में आपकी रणनीति यह होनी चाहिए, और मैं उद्धृत करता हूं, जहां संभव हो सहयोग करिए, जहां आवश्यक हो प्रतिरोध करिए। अब मैं मित्रों, ये जो बिल है आरपीडी बिल जो राज्यसभा में लंबित है, इस पर फिलहाल अगर आप मुझे उकसाएं ना तो मैं अपने विचार को व्यक्त नहीं करूंगा, लेकिन मैं एक बात जरूर करूंगा कि मैं कुछ 7-8 बिंदु अगले 2-3 मिनट में हाईलाइट करूंगा, जो अगर आपको पसंद हो तो आने वाले 2 दिनों में आपकी चर्चा का आधार बन सकते हैं। Friends, the point I am trying to hammer home to you is that though I am not currently in a mood to express my personal views on the bill, because that will amount to influencing the consultative process in advance, but I would, unless I am provoked into doing so, but instead I choose to flag up some 7 or 8 broad points in the next 2 minutes or 3 minutes, which, if you like, may perhaps form part of the ensuing discussions during the next 2 weeks. And the first of these points, इनका पहला जो बिंदु मैं हाईलाइट करना चाहता हूं वो ये है कि आपको ये देखना है कि क्या ये जो बिल राज्यसभा में लंबित है, क्या इस बिल में कुछ ऐसे प्रावधान हैं जो संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघ द्वारा पारित विकलांगों के अधिकारों से संबंधित संधि पत्र, जिसका हमारे देश ने अनुमोदन किया है, के खिलाफ जाता है और हमारे संविधान के खिलाफ जाता है? Is there any provision in this bill which runs counter to the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, which India has since ratified, and also to the Indian Constitution? जो दूसरा बिंदु आपको देखना चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से वो ये है कि इज देयर एनी प्रोविजन इन दिस बिल व्हिच सीक्स इन एनी मैनर टू लेजिटिमाइज डिस्क्रिमिनेशन, वेदर इट इज डिस्क्रिमिनेशन इन मैटर्स रिलेटिंग टू एम्प्लॉयमेंट और वेदर एनी अदर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन. इज देयर एनी प्रोविजन व्हिच सीक्स टू लेजिटिमाइज डिस्क्रिमिनेशन? जो तीसरा बिंदु आपको देखना चाहिए वो ये है कि क्या इस विधेयक में, क्या इस बिल में ऐसी कोई चीज है, ऐसी कोई व्यवस्था है जो हमको जो मौजूदा लाभ मिल रहे हैं विकलांग नागरिक के रूप में, मौजूदा अधिकार मिल रहे हैं, क्या उस पर कहीं कुठाराघात होता है? Does this bill contain any provisions which seeks to either do away with or minimize or reduce any benefits, advantages or rights which are available to us as citizens with disabilities now? जो चौथी बात हमको ध्यान में रखनी है कि is there any provision in this bill which in any manner seeks to nullify any gains that has accrued to us as persons with disabilities through judicial pronouncements? क्या इस बिल में ऐसी कोई चीजें हैं जो न्यायिक प्रक्रिया के द्वारा हासिल किए गए फायदों को निरस्त करता है? क्या इस बिल में ऐसा कोई प्रावधान है? जो पांचवी चीज हमको देखनी है कि क्या इस बिल में निगरानी तंत्र, नियमन तंत्र और लागू करने के तंत्र से संबंधित के संदर्भ में जो मापदंड एडॉप्ट किए जाने चाहिए, क्या उसमें दूसरे इसी तरह के जो निगरानी तंत्र, नियमन तंत्र आदि हैं, क्या उसमें एक रूपता है? इज देयर अ यूनिफॉर्मिटी और अगर नहीं है तो वो क्यों नहीं है? इज देयर ए यूनिफॉर्मिटी इन द कंटेक्स्ट ऑफ मॉनिटरिंग मैकेनिज्म्स, regulatory mechanisms and enforcement mechanisms when compared with other similar mechanisms for other weaker sections and vulnerable sections of society. तो जो छठी चीज हमको देखनी है कि क्या इस बिल में ऐसी कोई व्यवस्था है जो किसी लाभार्थी को, जो इस बिल में जो लाभार्थी हैं इस बिल के तहत, कि किन्हीं लाभार्थी को, किसी लाभार्थियों के किसी वर्ग को परिभाषित ही ना किया गया हो अथवा गलत तरीके से परिभाषित किया गया हो. Does this bill contain any provision which either does not define a particular category of beneficiary under the Act, or if it at all defines, it doesn't define it correctly. सातवीं जो बात मैं बिंदु जो कहना चाहता था कि क्या इस बिल को, क्या ये बिल हमारे पिछले 16-17 साल के उन अनुभवों से सूचित है जो अनुभव हमें मौजूदा कानून पर्सन्स विद डिसेबिलिटीज एक्ट के क्रियान्वयन से प्राप्त हुए हैं. इज दिस बिल इन्फॉर्म्ड बाय द एक्सपीरियंस दैट हैज accrued to us, to the government in relation to the implementation of the existing PWD Act? और जो 8वां बिंदु और आखिरी बिंदु मैं अभी के लिए कहना चाह रहा था वो ये है कि क्या इस बिल में ऐसी कोई चीज नहीं है जो बहुत जरूरी थी कि वो होती. मित्रों, मैं समझता हूं, आई फील दैट दीज 8 points which I have highlighted may perhaps form part when you examine the bill in detail. मैं अगले 2 दिनों में कोशिश करूंगा ज्यादा से ज्यादा समय यहां रहकर आपकी बातों को सुनने की, समझने की, और हो सकता है शायद मैं अपने विचार व्यक्त ना करूं, लेकिन मेरी खामोशी की कोई व्याख्या ना की जाए. ना तो ये कि आई नेसेसरीली एग्री और आई नेसेसरीली डिसएग्री, वो नहीं किया जाना चाहिए. दिस इज जस्ट एन अटेम्प्ट ऑन माय पार्ट to educate myself a little better about how you all feel about the existing RPD bill, and also what kind of amendments or modifications or alternative formulations you suggest. मेरी उम्मीद है कि ये जो अलायंस आपने बनाया है ये स्थायी हो, टिकाऊ हो, गतिशील हो और इन स्पिरिट ऑफ एकोमोडेशन ये काम करे. इसी उम्मीद के साथ और मैं आपके इस परामर्श प्रक्रिया को विधिवत उद्घाटित घोषित करता हूं. आई डिक्लेयर दिस कंसल्टेटिव मीट फॉर्मली इनॉग्रेटेड. हैप्पी डेलिब्रेशंस एंड थैंक यू वेरी मच.